It's about 2:45 in the morning, and I'm not tired. I just don't feel like going to bed. Oh, tea. I love tea. I've been off tea. Okay, so I've been off work for a week, and 2 days of that was as carer's leave for Rosie. There were some issues that we really needed to get into, and I got 2 days carer's leave for her. And then I haven't got it with me, I had a wisdom tooth out. I had one left, and I've had teeth out before. I've lost some of my top ones up here. I wear a plate now. And this wisdom tooth was huge. And there was nothing above it, so it wasn't being used. So the dentist said, look, rather than repairing it, we'll pull it out. Well, anyway, it cracked. And I was in a lot of pain. So I went and had it out, and I was in more pain when the anaesthetic wore off. I've had teeth out, it's not a big deal. They sort of, the nurse was holding my head, and the dentist has got this thing, and she's screwing it in, it didn't work, and she got another one screwed in, didn't work, and then she got these multi-grips, small dentistry ones, and crunch, 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 crunch like this, and it came out, and they're saying, are you alright, are you alright? It's like, yeah, it's all good. That sort of thing doesn't worry me. But the anaesthetic wore off, and it was still, I felt sick, it was awful, so I ended up taking more time off because of that, and I feel bad because I've got a BCE class, so I've got to get back on Monday, and I've got a heap of catching up to do. So, where do I start? I've got some talking to do. It's been a while since I posted. XC. I had a visit from Nathan Hickey. He's a wonderful support for me, and he gave me a few bits. The driver's side, there's two of them. There's a passenger and a driver's side kick trim in the right colour and in pristine nick. So I can use these on the car, that's great. And also a set of visors. These were the things I forgot. I forgot I needed sun visors. I just got to buy that little block thing, that won't be hard, and I'll put some new rubbers on. One of them has a split. I don't know, I should probably get it recovered. I don't think I can fix that, I'm not sure. I'll have a look at it, see what I can do. But it's got these little bracket things, swivels to go into the top of the A-pillar. So I'm wrapped, I've got these, and I thanked him 15 million times. He also gave me the clips I need for the boot trim that Graham Wickham gave me, these little guys. And I'd been to Rare Spares for those, and they said, no, we only sell as a kit for XW and XY. XA, B and C we don't do. And I remember in another video I was kind of negative about that, and I felt guilty because they're actually really nice there. But anyway, Nathan's given me 4 of them, and also a Ford badge. And that's the right one. I actually bought one, it's like 90 mil. And I bought one, it's like that was based on a small thing, and they stretched it out to make it bigger, and the font is really low, and it just looks wrong. And the picture didn't look like that, so I was pretty miffed. I bought it actually like 2 years ago or something. Anyway, I've got this one, so that can go on the boot. And I've got one off the XD, which I'll try and clean up to put on the front. See how we go. But anyway, I went back to Rare Spares with one of these guys. Hang on, I need more tea. What have I done with it? I had a sample of one of those. And they're rivets with posts that are made for those clips sort of sitting on. And I went in there and said, oh, I need a couple of these. And they said, what's it off? Well, it's a Rare Spares product. I mean, the car normally has little stands for the clips to sit on. And he said, can't help you. And I thought, I got miffed again. I sort of, not miffed, I sort of felt a bit annoyed because, I think that's the same thing, isn't it? Because it's like, it's not hard. So he sent me down to the back and there was a pack of them. So I went up and I bought them. So I found that a little bit disconcerting. Certainly, they've got everything there. It's a great shop, and I don't mean to sound negative about it, but it's not, when you restore a car, well, for me anyway, it's not really about just buying packs of things and sticking them on. It's about just getting 1 or 2 bits you need and reconditioning the old stuff, if you know what I mean. So if I need 2 of these, I just want 2, And I want to go to the guy and say, if he's an enthusiast, so I need these, and he'll know what they are. Maybe they've been told not to deal in bits and pieces, just go and get a pack. Maybe it's easier for them to handle, I don't know. Graham's still got the guards. I've got some footage on that. I have to call Graham about the motors too, because the grey motors apparently are quite expensive to do, so he has to be forewarned about that. By the time he sees this, I'm sure I will have already had the conversation with him. And I also got a phone visit from Bryce, and Bryce, I've got some footage on that too. Bryce and his dad Phil, and Bryce is a kid from Myrtleford, I think, and his dad came and we had a bit of a chin wag for about an hour or so. And a while ago, I actually got, probably, when was it? Last year, I think. John Gibbons, one of my closest friends, gave me a whole lot of car books and tools, and there was a Holden 308 red 4-barrel manifold and a quadrajet, and I gave it to Bryce because he's got a V8 Tirana shell and he wants to do it up. And I said, well, take this. This is age appropriate for the car. And I gave it to him, and he was pretty chuffed with that. So it was good to meet them. What else is? Oh, yeah, the other thing Phil gave me, or Nathan gave me. Oh, I just brought it in from inside. Is that who gives those away? I gave my XC one away 25 years ago to a guy called Tony and Sue, really good friends, and he had an XC panel van he was doing, and I kind of regretted it in the end because I never thought, when I gave it to him, I thought I'm never going to have one of these again. Of course, I got one, but it doesn't matter. I'm glad Tony got it because he put it to good use. But Nathan gave me that, and that's a huge coup because they're expensive, and it's just lovely seeing this sort of stuff and being able to have it. I've got an XB ZG one. I think Jason Hill's got mine. I don't think I gave it to him. I gave him the sales brochure. I'm just going to take that inside again. So I was chuffed with Nathan. He's got something else that I wanted to talk about, but we're not ready to talk about it yet. He's got a car. He's got a couple of cars, and very interesting cars. So I'd like to sort of know more about that too. So the future direction. So we've got, there's been a lot going on. So with work, with the family, the kids are suffering a bit because Suzanne's left. She's got a new fella in Ballarat. I haven't met him, but from what I know of him, he's very good, very nice to her, and he's very supportive, and he's good with my kids, which you can't ask for more than that. I don't know what we're doing in terms of here. It's a bit of a mess, and so that's kept me from really feeling like recording anything. I haven't really taken a break from doing YouTube videos since I started this in 2012. So I've got, what's that? That's 9 years I've been doing it. And so the last few weeks I just thought, no, I just don't want to, you know what I mean? So I might take a break. I'll just see. We'll just write it, see what happens. Ideally, I thought, if I manage to stay here, that I might just build another garage like this behind here, try and get the council to agree to it. And that way I've got room and it's all undercover. And I'd lose most of the backyard, but at the moment the backyard's just a big dog's toilet. So I keep telling the kids, I was mowing the lawn today and I'm slipping on dog crap and all this sort of business. And I've had enough of that. And I've said to the kids, look, you got to start cleaning that stuff up. They're your dogs, you know, they've all got their own dogs, but they need to pull their finger out a bit with that sort of thing. But I'm sort of reluctant to sort of kind of ride them too hard with that because they're all suffering at the moment with the circumstances they're in. So what else have I got to say? I had to do this for work. I haven't finished it yet. For the Year 10 kids and the Year 11 systems kids if we get that going in VCE. What else is there? We've got some photos that Graham sent on the cards, and he's cut a big lump of business out and he's put new metal in there because some of the there was a dodgy repair on it. And I think that's about it. It's a bit on the XC, it's a bit on that. If you're interested, you're probably not, but it's what I've been doing, and I think that's about it. So sorry about the delay, it's been a long time, but I hope you enjoy.
He doesn't got me in there anyway.
Oh well, that's all good. Rightio, here we go. We've got a 4-barrel. This was originally from a 308 HJ from John Gibbo, friend of mine from my school days, and he donated a whole bunch of stuff. This manifold was one of them, but unfortunately I can't use it, so I've decided to pass it on. Good quality red motor kit, and you pay stupid money for this sort of thing now, but I wanted somebody to have it. I wanted to give it to Bryce, and there's Bryce there. He's here with his old man Phil, who's hiding. But anyway, Bryce has himself a LH or LX?
LX.
LX Tirana 253, and I think he should have this. I'd be really happy to give it to him. So What are your plans for the car, mate? Are you going to do some more repairs, or?
I need to repair like the back of the roof and C-pillar.
Yeah. What, did something fall on it?
I think so, because it's bent exactly in the middle of the C-pillar and the roof. Yeah.
And you know what? Anything like that is going to be a good, valuable asset for you to keep. So it's well worth keeping. Well worth doing this sort of stuff to it. So thanks very much for taking this off me, mate, because I've got too much junk. Alrighty? I'll see you soon. Right, we're losing daylight. Starley has just had a bubble bath. This is my little daily. I put it together out of about, how many Starleys? Probably 6 of them, I don't know. And, well, you can see under there, it's actually a pretty good finish on it. It is painted on or in acrylic. Now, acrylic's not the best paint. 2-pack's the best paint. But for DIY, this stuff's really, really good. The only thing with it is it's a single pack paint. It doesn't contain any isocyanates, but it isn't as hard as 2-pack. So when you first put it down, it will dull off. Now this car, I sort of hurried it because I wanted to get a video series I did on Let's Build a Car. I think I was doing it for a systems class. So normally when I paint something like the XC, for example, I let it harden up over a couple of months. Because I do put a bit of paint on, I don't want it too thin. Now the XD I painted 15 years ago, and that's knackered because it's been under wet covers and it's crow's footed and it's really, really damaged. You can see here, hang on, there, you can see I'm using my phone and I'm here. Hello, can you see the hairs on my head? There is nothing wrong with the finish you get on it. Now this car dulled off. Hang on, can I get that tree? Let's zoom in on this tree. Can I zoom in? That's not that bad. Hang on, I can't zoom in very well. No, it's not letting me do it. Here we go. Let it get focus. No, my point is failing. Now, I buff this. I've just cleaned that off, right? I buff the rest of this. See, it's a little bit different, but that's just dirt, a lot of it. A couple of years ago, and it comes out like that. Now, I just passed it once with the buff over there on the ground. But after you paint it, when I first painted it, looked great. But then it goes really dull, sort of like that. And this has never been rebuffed in the 15 years, and that's the sort of thing that happens to it. Once you buff that out, like the boot, which I did a couple of years ago, it stays shiny. Yeah, it almost seems to take a while for all the solvent to leak out, if you know what I mean. Cars all used to be painted with stuff. They used to be actually, acrylic used to be better when it contained lead. But of course now you're not allowed to do that. But I find this stuff great, and people bag it. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's really wonderful stuff. Now this car's been under covers for years, and it's showing it needs to be repainted again, and that means it's got to be, panels are got to be taken off and actually media blasted or chemically stripped down to nothing. There's a little bit of fill in it, particularly in that door where Mum used to open it against a workbench. There's about 20 little dents across there. Originally it had an orange stripe. It looked nuts. I couldn't get the orange one when I did this. This is just to emulate Fairmont gear type thing, but it's not. It's only a belly button pack GL. But eventually, when I can get some more storage area, I will repaint this car. That will last though. It will see out 20 years on that paint, which is all right, considering the conditions it's been in. But look, I don't actually care that much. I think it'll be fine. And but once I've got it painted again, it stays inside. Right, well, I was driving back from visiting Mum and passed a rubbish pile and picked this thing up, which is cool. And I've always wanted one of these, but never. Oh, it's heavy. Got around to getting one. Let me just plug it in. I don't know if this is going to work. I've got it outside in case it blows up. And I thought, you know what, if it blows up, fine. Make a good video. Right, just a moment. And when I was at Etheridge in Ringwood, we had one of these. And it turned enough air like an aircraft. Like an aeroplane. And it sounded like one too. Well, it worked. It's a bit slow though. Well, that's turns there. It'd be good for the garage in the summer. It doesn't spin that fast because maybe there's a field winding out. That happens in starter motors. They still work, but they haven't got the torque. What's it like on the lower speed? Oh, it's speeding up. Oh, wow. Wow. Maybe some trees over there as well. Can you tighten that up? Yeah, the oscillating thing isn't working very well. I'll have a look at that. That works. Look at those trees over there. What about those swinging around this way? That's good. Yeah, a bit cool for that though. Oh, that's a win. That's good. Free pickup. Some of this I haven't done very well. I've just going along and I've been buffing it, and it's just a couple of little spots I haven't done very well, but there's more to it than that. I haven't there was a spot of rust in this. There was a bit down near the tail light where I cut it out and welded a patch in, but there's also a spot over there which I didn't repair properly, and it's showing through. So that's a big deal for me. I don't want a bar of that. So I'm going to have to do something about that. The other thing is it's quite cold today, and I when you sort of wet sand bits and pieces of it, or you wet sand the whole thing and you come back and do it, you realise there's a couple that aren't that good. Around there's not very good, for example. But that's it there. Hang on a second, I'll just get that thing off and I'll show you. Can I focus on it? Let me get some light into it. Hang on, what if I lift the boot up and I don't know, it's just this dot here and it's a little bit raised. There was a spot there, and you know, stupid me, I just sort of got the muck out of it and etched over it and left the boot lid sitting there for a couple of years, or probably 12 months. I think I painted these about 2 years ago, and what inadvertently has happened is I've left my chamois over there. That's a pain in the ass. Hang on, I'll just use this. What happened is I didn't treat it properly, so I think what I'm going to have to do with that is dig it out and treat it, and then I'm going to just brush a bit of etch on, and then build the paint up, and then use a really small block and block it back. I don't really want to paint the boot again. That would be a pain in the ass. I really don't want it, because the rest of it looks pretty good. But that's a big stuff up. We can't have that. But it's one of those things where you think to yourself, well, normally I'd just take it off and redo it, but at this point in the game, we just got to get the car on the road. That's just all there is to it. I'm just going to go along here. I need to go down there and buff it out. And I want to put that trim across the chrome trim on and a few other bits and pieces. And that's pretty much it. It does come out well though, you know. I haven't actually had anybody formally show me how to buff. You do see, if you watch wheeler dealers and all this sort of stuff, they actually wet the panel and they drag the buff through slowly, and every time I do that it turns out looking rubbish. I actually have it on quite a high speed and I make sure it doesn't dry out too much, but I have it so it actually drags. You can feel it drag a bit, and that's when you get the best finish. But that could be the wrong way to do it. I don't know. keep seeing bits though that I don't like. Hang on a minute. I've just seen another one. There. And there. The rest of it's probably okay. Beautiful. Beautiful there, but there's still... look, I might just leave it. Because I've got to repair that little stuff up. I think that's going to be right. There's a couple of scratches in it, but I think I'm going to chance it and leave it. Anyway, look, you're probably bored by now, eh? I've got to get all this colour sanding stuff off, and we've got to drill into this because that's not very good. Oh, it's just fluff. Because we've got to put this trim across the back here. Courtesy Grant Wickham, and it's this guy. And we'll just give it a quick polish, and that is going to set like that. I remember putting this paint down, and I didn't get the line straight. And then it's around there. That's where I dipped out, just there. Yeah, I can see it. So that's where it's off there. Original rare spares stands have a longer, or sort of rivet stand if you like, has a longer stem on it, and you need a 3mm drill bit. It's tight, but it goes in, right? Particularly that part there, that fits perfectly. The ball's a bit tight, but these ones are useless because you have no way of getting that in. And yet it's the same 3mm bit there. So it might mean just twirling it around on a grinder or something just to get it so I can fit through that 3mm hole. Because otherwise you're going to be drilling a 3.5mm hole and it's loose, so it's no good. All I've done with these is I stuck them in a drill, drag them across a file just to take the ends of them down, and they fit, so that's cool. It's an easy fix, but just keep an eye on it if you're going to be using these things, because you don't want problems arising from, sloppy hole where it doesn't fit properly. Rightio, these are from Nathan. They look like they're off a satin spruce colours, a bit of sort of greeny overspray, and they just click in like that, and we'll hold our trim on. I'll tell you what, there's no way, well, if I was to finish this car and like do everything myself, it would take 20 years. One of the reasons I'm back on it is generosity of people doing work like Graham, or giving me parts like Grant, John Parnas or whatever. Speaking of John Parnas, he gave me this bit here, I'm sure, which was better than the one that I found, because the one that I found was pretty, sort of average. And the one John gave me actually painted the black bit between, but I can't find it. I've got to find it. Just don't know where I put it. Interestingly, these ones don't fit. Well, it didn't fit this mould. They were narrow ones. I ended up getting an XWGT boot trim fitting thing. So the narrow ones are these, but those ones of Nathan's do fit the lower trim, and these others will fit the front as well. The one for across the front of the bonnet. These I'll find useful, no doubt. So that was worth getting them. I'm happy with that. I guess now it's just a matter of putting this boot lock in. I've had this for ages. I've got my other glasses here. Yes, I do. Oh, it's all got sticky shit on it. All the adhesive from there. I'll just just wipe it off, can I? I'll get some prep salt. I'm just going to clean it off because that residue is sort of stuck on the lock itself. But basically, we've got a little hook, actuator hook that goes in and under that spring like that to undo the boot. And that gasket goes on, all that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to go and clean this off. Let's just pop that in. Where's the wide bit? The wide bit's down the bottom. And that will sit like that and go in and look hunky-dory. That's the idea. Does that face up or down? I'm tipping. What is the best way to do it? Oh, it goes up like that. Sweet. Where's the hole? There it is, down there. That will fit. At least I think it does. Like that. Look at this big clip. Where's that clip? Here. Pre-loved Ford badge from Nathan Hickey. I'm going to stick it on. This is being dressed as an update, even though it's not an update car. I'm being fussy. This bootlet did have the FORD across the back, but the bonnet didn't. So I do have the badges, which look alright. But the update badge in the centre of the grille on the XCs looks a lot better than just being bare, in my opinion. But not just that, I didn't want to drill the bonnet. It's never been drilled. Well, I've just marked where I want this. Is that right there? Bit late now, but it's not. That's there to stay. Alright. I just wanted to mark the centre and that sort of thing. What's that? Where it says tape? I always take this off onto itself just in case there's adhesion issues with paint or whatever, but that'll do. That'll do. That looks pretty good. This is the badge I bought a couple of years ago, 18 months maybe, and I measured the original and I got the right length, but it kind of looks like a poor copy that's been stretched out, if you know what I mean. It just doesn't quite look right. So I wasn't going to put that there. It wouldn't look right. So I'm happy I got that one. Right, GXL badges. I actually pushed the pins through a piece of manila folder. Now, that shows where we drill, but I'm not going to drill it. I'm just going to use double-sided tape with a string of urethane because I don't want to drill into this. The other thing is, what I did notice is update cars, the badges are lower. The GXL badge on a pre-update car is much higher up. And I looked at a bunch of different photos and I found that to be quite common. So they're almost in line with that Ford badge. I've gone 18 mil off the bottom for there. I just think the 15 looks good on that, but it's it's a little bit lower, this badge, or at least it's a little bit sort of more squat. So I'm just going to leave it like that. I'll run a tape line so I know exactly where I'm going and stick the thing on. Now these badge pins, dead easy to get off. It's not a genuine badge, but I've just used my thumb and just pushed them off. You don't even need to cut them. So they're quite weak. But that's the Repro badge and I think it's going to do fine. And I like it a bit lower than too high as well. So I'm really happy with that. Well, I must say I'm fairly happy with that. I haven't got the boot going all the way down yet because the seal is still very tight. I did it in the XW as well. I sort of left it up so it would shut, not quite, make sure that's stuck down. Make sure it's not quite all the way down just because of the seal being tight. But I think that's all right. Sorry about the lack of room in here. Once it's settled a bit, then I'll be able to sort of readjust it and get that line a bit better. But it is sitting up, but at the end of the day, it looks fairly good. I'm happy with that. Anyway, all I've got left, I've got to do these. I've just sort of painted black just there, just by brush, because you can see that middle bit just through some of those vents. And I'll do the same thing. I'm going to urethane those on. Maybe with a bit of double-sided tape or something at the top, but I want a urethane to seal it, and I'll leave the bottom open so any water can come out if it needs to, but I don't want those pinned or drilling holes where it could cause rust, because I know it's a big area in these cars, particularly sort of down here. I've got to remove this. There's windscreen mould. It's too far over, and it's damaged the paint there, and the boot lid's damaged it there as well. It wasn't fitted properly, but it doesn't matter, we can get around that. And now we're looking at the front guards that Graham's been doing. There's a rather nasty looking patch that he found underneath one of the front guards, this one I believe. I had no idea it was there. It looked clean from the other side, and some of us are surprised, but you can see the quality of his work. He's rolled up a new piece of metal and put it in, and you cannot even see where it was. There it is there. So really looking forward to getting those back. That'll pretty much complete the car. I don't think there's anything aside from drip rails I need after that and headlight resilvering. But I'm very lucky that he's offered to take that on. So the next couple of minutes on another project I was doing for work. That's it for the XC. So I hope you've enjoyed that part of it. Oh gosh, what have we got going on here? Right, so what we were doing at work was the kids were overhauling these Honda engines, and these were given to us, or at least donated to the college by Honda Australia, 14 of them, and brand new, no run. Some have been reduced to the point where they don't run. So we get the kids to the point where do all the measurements, put new gaskets in and all that sort of stuff. We can reuse some of them, but these are horizontal shaft with centrifugal clutch. They're pretty good like that, but I'm essentially using it for the wrong thing. But anyway, curriculum means it's got to actually do work. Whether it be pump water, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But I've made a few mistakes. Of course, this stand that we're looking at now, which is welded together rather badly, is basically made out of a school desk, an old school desk they were throwing out. And I thought, you know what, we can repurpose that. And so we've got, an alternator off a Starling. Here, damn it. Made up a little dash. So at least then they can collect data, how much it's charging, and we've also got, I turned that on a lathe, it's just got a hole in the middle of it. I'll tell you what, I'm not working well today, and I can dock bits of that off. That will sit so that rod can sort of sit in it. There'll be fuel, 100 mils of fuel at the top, and we can see how long it's going to last, or at least how long the motor can run for. They can time that and do all that sort of thing. Battery, I've just got to finish it off. And it's a completely scrap built unit. So I've got a pulley, I had to turn this out. That was 3/4, I had to turn it to 13/16, or 21 mil, and turned it out a tiny bit too far because I'm an idiot. It's got a grub screw, but it does line up. So we've got this alternator here. That I rescued out of the tech centre. That is off HDHR, LCLJ Toronto. It's a Holden one, which is really nice. But we just need the V pulley. Because we've got this rib one off the Toyotas. So it also means I've got to use a special connector, I don't even know if you can see that, for this alternator. So one will go to positive for the exciter circuit to energise the coils, the other one goes off to the warning light. So what the kids do is they build their engine, they put oil in the clutch section, also in the sump of the engine, and start it up, and we run them and make some measurements. So that's what I've been doing. And it's taken a while because I've got nowhere to weld in here because I've just got crap everywhere. So I've been welding outside, which is less than ideal. One thing I did do though, I screwed up because this muffler goes that way, and that's the exhaust outlet, which is really dumb. So I should really have had the engine on that side and the alternator on that side, which would have been smarter. I'm just going to dock that off and turn it around 180 so it'll sort of sit like that. With the exhaust exiting from the front. It won't matter. Or from the back. It should actually go that way. That would have been better. That way, of course, when we I'll cut a bit of that off, and that's where the little dashboard will sit. On there, it means it's not going to be blowing exhaust all over it. Or, for that matter, if it backfires and we get a flame out, which it wouldn't, but you don't want it near the battery vent. I've got it on casters. It's got this little bit here, so it's got a bit of a wobble in it because I didn't do it on a welding table. This rod comes out and supports a little bottle for 100 mils of fuel. The kids can then sort of decide what they, how they want to run it to make it use less fuel and all that sort of stuff. And we've got to generate some power by popping an alternator on there. Hang on a minute. If I can line that up. There we go. Which nut is it? Oh, where's the nut? That's handy. Oh, there it is. So it's just really a school thing. It's got a, type that up later. I've just got to turn a pulley for it and pop on the, where does that go? It goes there. you get the picture. And so that can be adjusted. Where is the engine? Wait a minute. And there's just the studs, so that'll... Oh, it goes that way. Yeah, and so that sits on there. I've got a Holden 6 one. It's a little bit big, so I'm going to have to turn something that just fits in there. I might use this BMC one. Which one does that fit? Oh yeah, same data as that. So it might be such, I mean that could be turned down too, but I don't really want to turn it down. That's the original Holden 6 one. But whatever the case, that'll go on there. We'll make a little sleeve for it. There's a little pad behind there to hold the dash, and the dash has just got rest voltage, off, and then charge. And so that's when it goes in, and I'll wire it up and I'll show you, and that just sits there like that. And of course the last thing, I did this the wrong way, so I had to cut the muffler and weld it so the exit is coming out that way, but I just wanted the smallest belt I could get. On the off chance that it flies off, so I have to make a guard for it. And there's a little ledge there for the battery. And that's it. And it'll look a bit like that. And then when you finish with that guy, it comes out and it just gets stored. So I need a bottle which holds about 100 mils of fuel. Comes out straight into the carburetor. So we're starting to pop this thing together, and again, it's the whole theme of it's just using offcuts of just junk that I've got. Hang on, I've got to change these out. And we'll just see how it goes. Is this heated up enough yet? Probably not. This iron's getting a bit shabby. I've got another one, but this is kind of old faithful, this thing, I like it. So I'm just going to tin this. And yeah, the iron's not quite hot enough, but you know, with the odd terminal, these are just crimp terminals, and I've taken the yellow bit off so I can just slip it over, crimp it, and then solder the whole thing. And for some unknown reason, this thing's taken forever to make, this stand. Normally they're sort of, they're very quick. I don't know why it's taken so long. Here we go, that's getting a bit better. Just want to tin that up, get it nice. And I want it ready for later this week. And hopefully I'm successful. I had a tooth out today, a wisdom, my last wisdom tooth, and there's a bit of that metallic-y blood taste in my mouth, but I figured the best way to forget about it is do some of this stuff. But I'll tell you what, I was in agony before that. Normally I just put up with toothache, but this was really severe. So I had a day of work, and it was a day where I would have normally been busy, but I just couldn't go. I couldn't teach. I was just in so much pain. Sniffing around the switch here. It's an AC 250 volt switch or 240 volt switch. I've bridged out the two middle parts, but nothing else here. Right, so it's earthing both of those, but not there. The reason I'm doing this, I'm just hoping I don't get backfeed, because I'm going to wire it to both sides of that. It remains to be seen how effective that is. So, we'll suck it and see, I guess. Right, well, I think that's right. Let me tighten that up, hang on a minute. Let's see what happens if I stick some juice across here. Right, so I've got on the starlet, that's a starlet alternator. The exciter wire is separate to the one coming out for the ignition lamp. So I've just got those bridged down there. So if I grab these two guys, I'll put that there. And that should do nothing. Right. Rest should show us the voltage in the battery. and charge should bring up the ignition and energise the exciter wire. So that's all good. And there it is there. So that's cool. I'm happy with that. So that can go over here. The only thing is I'm going to have to grind that post off because it's awfully close in there and they're sort of designed to go around those things. So that will sit like that. And then, you know, the green one, for example, is in earth. So just earth to the chassis somewhere. And then we've got a power feed which goes in. I'll solder it onto there and that can go on the alternator as well. Charge wire. I've just dropped it because I'm clever. But we're getting there. It's, you know, it's all fun and game stuff. There's nothing particularly difficult about it. So I'll just put a bit of shrink tube over that and I can fit that as well. Anyway, look, I hope you've enjoyed this. Take good care of yourselves. Enjoy your classic and I'll see you soon. What do you reckon? She haven't. Jesus.